and welcome to the Tran HARA show. Now, to wear or not to wear, that is the Australian topic of discussion when it comes to mask wearing. Despite the changes in the policy in the US,
the CDC is advising the use of non-medical cloth face covering. I don't think I'm going to be doing it.
Australia has decided that it is not recommended in wearing masks.
So for the moment, mask use not recommended for the Australian public.
Professor Paul Kelly says there are two reasons. Number one, due to the limited supply, and number two, there could be a risk of misuse. For limited supply reasons, I totally get it. We do not want Australians to go apeshit over masks like they did with toilet paper in the past. But potential misuse? Please explain. How could a piece of fabric held up by strings be potentially dangerous to us Australians, therefore needing training in it? But let us ask our in-house Dr. HARA about this.
Hi, I'm Dr. HARA.
Dr. HARA, can you please explain to us some of the many misuses over mask wearing?
Yes, today I'll show you some dangerous misuse of this mask. Number one, don't wear the mask like this. It won't protect you from the sun. Number two, never wear the mask like this, especially when you are driving. Number three, this is the correct way.
Thank you, Dr. HARA, for the very informative and practical common sense use of the mask. There you go, Australians. We've solved your many ways of mask misuse to make them less dangerous. Less dangerous than the Australian animals that we have in this country. I have a special guest on the line today, my cousin, Australian Vietnamese community leader, My Linh Do. At the moment, we're actually experiencing one of our cousin who's living in the US who has COVID-19, who's in a serious condition. So we're going to explore that and talk about that, as well as My Linh's experience of what's happening in Brisbane and also making masks as a way to help the community at large. Welcome, my cousin, My Linh Do from Brisbane. Today's interview conversation, I want to talk to you a bit more about COVID-19 and how has it sort of affected ourselves, our communities, and also some of the different initiatives that are happening up in Brisbane.
Good to see you, Claire. It's lovely to speak with you at last. After all the messages, you know, we need to be connected some way or another. Yes, COVID-19 has affected many of us in different ways. Obviously, not just what we hear from media, you know, about it. Frontline workers, health workers, we see people. It's affecting our life, you know, our immediate family have it. Which is frightening.
And I think for me, when my dad, like, he said, yeah, cousin's got, like, you know, he's got the virus, and he kind of said it candidly, and I'm like, how is he? He's like, oh, he's in hospital, he can't breathe. I'm like, that sounds serious, because I've been following it, and the thing is, I don't know anyone that has it, you know. We know of others having it, and we think it's an other person's problem. But then now that when it's getting closer to home, to our relatives, we're starting to feel that this thing is real, because I think a lot of people in Australia still are kind of living in a bit of a bubble, you know. And I think even recently there's debates in the last few days about whether to wear a mask or not, you know. Right. I mean health workers, I think the chief health boss was saying that he recommends that Australians don't wear a mask, you know. And I want to get your
on a daily basis.
Yes,
yes,
right.
One minute they said don't, and then they said do. You know, at the moment it's still debating. So one minute we hear information that, oh, we should not be wearing masks, but at the moment we're starting to hear information that, oh, maybe we should. So, you know, it's debating. We know in other countries they wear masks before COVID even started, but because it's polluted and And when COVID-19 hit, they have got masks, you know, even a homemade mask, but they've got it ready to wear because they've always wear it for pollution sort of area. Whereas with us now, people are panicked. People rushed out and trying to buy masks. They buy surgical masks. They buy N95 masks. They buy all of those things that we should save for health workers, because that's, when you're like frontline workers, they need it more. So yes, where do we go from here? And yes, getting back to where you mentioned before, when it's hit close to our heart, we really feel it. The last few days, hearing that, you know, our cousins have it, I've been crying. We've been crying because we say it is so real and it is scary. You can't talk to him. You don't hear. Nobody can talk to him. Nobody can see him. It's sort of every day we sit there, and I said, no, we need to do more as a community, as you know, as community members. We need to do a lot more.
Because I from what I remembered when cousin was like, you know, in Sydney, he was fit as a fiddle. He was fit. He was vibrant. He was pretty much like, you would not think that the virus would be able to hit him, but then it did, and it felt like it. And all of a sudden, his health just deteriorated. Like, can you share with us a little bit more, like what happened? Because to me, it just seems like out of the blue news. But to you, like, because you have like more information, what was the process of his deterioration like?
Well, over the last 10 days, I have had, you know, we tried to contact him. He couldn't respond, and I was starting to get worried. Because we communicate on a daily basis, you know, mostly on a daily basis. And even right from the start, because he worked in a front line, not in health, but, you know, in a public sort of area, I keep saying, Kaz, you've got to be careful. And he said, oh, I'm fine. I'm young. I'm okay. You need to look after yourself. You work in a, you know, in an environment, you work at the hospital, you're more at risk. But then out of nowhere, I don't hear from him. Message after message, and I don't hear from him at all, until one day I was told that, oh, you know, he is very, very, by his sister, to say that he is very, very sick. And I said, oh my God, what's happened? Then he started, from what I hear to date, I mean, after nearly 2 weeks, I still haven't spoken with him yet, apart from a few very brief messages. Start off with aches and pains and fevers and cough. And then trying to sort of isolate himself, haven't been tested because it's too inconvenient to go to get tested, because, you know, you don't want to go tested, all these sort of things, you just isolate yourself. But then the matter sort of got worse. It sort of affected his breathing. He was taken by paramedic to the hospital a few days ago. He could hardly breathe. Now, from the family over there, we hear that he is struggling. They use the term that his fevers has been constantly sitting at about 40 degrees.
Oh my God.
So imagine a wet towel put on his head and put on his body, within instantly it sort of dry out.
Oh my God.
The worst part would be the aches. He messaged and says that the ache is unbearable. You can't lie. He got to the point where he can't even eat, drink, talk, walk. He can't do a thing. And imagine for someone who is, you know, a male with no known medical conditions in his 40s, that is like scary. It is very scary. So as we speak now, he still have a lot of problems with breathing problem. It's still, whenever he try to gasp for air, it's aching, and to the point where he has to actually scream. So yeah, it's very sad, very sad. I can tell you that.
Yeah, thanks for sharing.
Heartbreaking.
Can you tell us a little bit about, because you spoke earlier about how, you know, in your day-to-day, because at the moment you're not working because it's quite unsafe with the circumstances, but you're also still doing certain things within the community. And one initiative that you're doing is helping another person like make masks and distribute it. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yes, I work at the hospital. So I find that I've been very uneasy going to work every day. I've been trying to get, you know, approval to work from home because of my conditions. I've got, you know, health conditions, and then I'm a mother caring for a young child, live alone. You know, there's so many factors that make me feel very uneasy to be at work, especially working at the in the hospital environment. So I have made the decision not to go to work for the time being. I'll access my leave for now, but I don't have many. I don't have a lot. I'll work from there. I'm waiting to see if I can get the permission to work from home. If not, I would have to consider weigh up the importance. Is it my health, my family health, the you know, my responsibility towards a young child, which is more important? And I may have to get to the point where I may have to sit at home on leave without pay. And the project that I'm involving in now, I can't take credit for it. It started off as, you know, a friend who knows someone who makes masks, and she was just making masks. And then I was contacted because I'm connected with the family, with the community, I should say. So I was called, hey, we've got someone who just make a few hundred masks, and they just want to help. If and we know that you know a lot of people. Would you be willing to take it and then go and distribute it to people in your circle, in your network that need it? And I said, oh, of course I'll do the honor, because I've got lots of patients at the hospital who are elderly, who live by themselves, who have, you know, conditions, who have medical conditions. So a couple of days ago, I started to pick up the first lot, and all I do was no contact. Obviously, I just picked up, and what I do is I ring the people, the elderly people, the patients of the hospital that I know, and I said, I'm at your door. I'll drop this in your letterbox and you picked it up. So that's how I deliver it, obviously. Being at home, being able to deliver things to people without having the contact. And then it makes me sort of think of the initiative. Now, one person make mask. She is lovely. She's a darling. She makes it day and night. But even one person, you can only make so many in a day, which is not enough to distribute it. So I've thought of the idea of what if. So I've contacted her and I said, look, can you make it? And then I think of these things. If we can ask, if we can find people in our own community, more people, I'm sure there are so many people in the community who know how to sew, who've got the sewing skill. Can they, you know, donate some of their time in making the mask? One person, say, if you can make 50 a day, if we have 10, we have 500. If we have 100, we have 5,000. In that way, we can create a team of, you know, like a project that we all do, and it's needed. I know the government in Queensland here have started up what they call Care Army project, which means checking on the elderly, going shopping for them, helping them with little things. Now, this is another project that we can do. We can get people to help, you know, to make masks, and then we can give it to other people who needed it. Soon, very soon, hopefully, many of us will have masks. Now, getting back to, is it worth it? Why do we need to wear masks? Personally, I think wearing masks, they say, okay, if you sanitize your hands, if you wash it often, you should be okay. You can only do that when, say, for instance, hand sanitizer, we can't get it anymore. We can't buy it. And if we're in public, if we have to touch on things and then accidentally touch our face, that's where the risks come in. If you're at home, you can wash your hands. However, if you happen to go out in shopping and you don't have those things readily available, what are you going to do? Mask will help you to avoid touching your hands, your mouth, and then by the time you get home, you take it off, you wash it. It's really, I think it is something that need to be encouraged, and we are desperately asking people to help making those masks. It's washable. It's fantastic. I mean, I love it. It's only the last couple of days, but I'm so in love with the project.
I think you're starting a bit of a trend. I think when it comes to Australians, there seems to be a bit of a reluctancy when it comes to mask wearing because of the stigma with mask and sickness, and that's only reserved for particular types of people. But I think it's important that communities start to be empowered and embracing these sort of DIY, make it yourself mask, or make it for the community or the vulnerable people in the community, and make it an activity, because there's so many of us now in isolation and we're feeling so disempowered. about what's going on in the media. We're trying to help. We're hearing all these different types of information. I think mask making is a very good initiative, and I really congratulate you on that. And I think with this interview, once we put it out there, lots of people will watch it, and they'll probably think about their own DIY mask, or whether or not they have the time to also jump on board and be a part of this fantastic project, or even do their own project in their own space, in their own cities, in their own countries. So I really will congratulate you on that, and and the people that you're connected to, and I do wish you all the best. And with our cousin, I really hope that he really gets better. And if you do find any more information, let us know, because I think it's something that I feel like it's a community thing, you know, that now that we have someone close to us going through this, that it's also important that other people know that it could also happen to a family member within their group as well. So it's good that we're having this dialogue. So thank you so much for that.
That's right, Cars. I pray every day that, you know, our cousins will get better, and then we will be able to hear firsthand information directly from him.
That's right.
Which is like, you know, it is going to be an eye opener for all of us.
Exactly.
And again, this project, I have to say that, you know, my great appreciation towards the friend that's currently making it. She's putting in lots and lots of effort. My contribution is only a teeny bit in comparison to what she's been doing. However, with this initiative, I'm hoping that we could recruit a team of makers, of people who make it, and then I'm willing to be the coordinator to pick up and then deliver it, and then you know, like the whatever. Together we make it work. Make it work, and hopefully other community in other states. Unfortunately, being in Brisbane here, we can't deliver it to other states. But hopefully, with this interview, once it's on air, New South Wales, Sydney, Melbourne, there's a lot of sewers in our community.
That's
and then
right.
hopefully other community can pick that up as well, and do that. You may even do it in your little group, but look, 10 little groups, we become an army.
That's right. Thank you so much, my Lindo. All the best.